Welcome back, Sims Complete fans. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims as he takes a quick little swig of his water. He's ready to go. He's hydrated. He's excited to talk about ball today. And yeah, go ahead, big guy.
who in the hell was that? Who were you imitating there?
I don't know, man. I'm
just some character you've made up in your mind. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
just because
one of my many imaginary characters in my mind.
Well, we all have those. Yes. Yeah. But it's a water bottle. Doesn't mean there's water in it. Oh, I'm so okay. We ready? You want me to give
that would be great though if and we did a show and you just got tore up. Hell, halfway through, you're just as the kids would say, just lit.
Lit.
Just
yeah. I want to be lit. And I want to be at 68. I'm trying to be cool. Oh my God.
You are pretty cool for a 68.
No, I'm not.
You're damn cool, man.
I don't want to be cool. Act your damn age, okay?
You try so hard not to be cool, it is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man? That. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, I got that. You work so hard at not being it, you are. Okay.
That's right.
That's the way it works, huh?
You're so covert, it's overt,
Well, saying that, I should have tried to throw more interceptions because maybe that would have turned into touchdowns. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not.
It's worked out for a few quarterbacks, actually, oddly enough, but we won't get into that too much. But
no.
I know before we started the show that you wanted to, to get into a few things that have been grinding your gears, as they say. So what's up, man? What's bothering you?
Well, here we go. Listen, we do this a lot on the quarterbacks in every draft. We hear it all year long in this, and I listen to people. And they got these catchphrases. Here's one. I don't know why they say it. He's got to work on his feet. What the hell does that mean? Can you tell me?
Yeah.
What did work on his feet? Okay, I covered everything right there with that statement. It's never like what I mean when I say work on his feet is this. You never hear what that means, right? Right or wrong?
Right. No, okay. You're absolutely right. I'm going to make a note right now too to make sure that I don't say anything for our breakdown of the quarterbacks here in a second.
No, okay, but if you say it, explain what you mean. Are his feet stuck in the ground? Does he not know how to crow hop? Can he pop on them? Is he quick moving them? What? Tell me something. But he's got to work on his feet. Okay. Yeah. And hell, everybody says it. Ex-NFL quarterbacks, I see him on TV. Yeah. Well, he's got to work on his timing and work on his feet. And they leave it at that. Yeah. They should know. And then, a couple, one, I'm tired of hearing, Jaden Daniels, he's 6'4" for real, which I've met. And he weighs 210 pounds. What is wrong with that? Right. What do you want him to weigh? How 225 or that's not who he is. His body tells him to be where he's at. Yeah. And Matt, he'll gain weight as time goes along. I'm not worried about that. And so I don't know, it just wears me out. Well, he just weighs 210 pounds. A lot of NFL. How much does Brock Purdy weigh? I don't know. How much does Kyler Murray weigh? There's so many guys out there that are probably under 210 pounds. But
it didn't affect Bryce Young being the #1 overall quarterback taken. So that's where I feel like we kind of pick and choose occasionally. Where some of these measurements or metrics are. Important to us, right? We pick and choose, it's like, he threw just as any interceptions as so-and-so, but they're different, it's kind of funny how that happens.
You said it, Bryce Young, if you brought it up, don't bring that up. It has nothing to do with what's going on. And now you bring it up about, if you get chastised for saying something about Bryce Young. Well, no, you can say this about Jaden Daniels. We can say that. Right. So I don't know where in the hell that goes. Yeah. Let's see what I've heard a few people say, well, his arm gets a little long. Well, what does that mean? What does it do to the ball? What happens? Right. What's wrong with that? The arm getting long? It's kind of really being a little nitpicky by me, but that's who I am. I like to nitpick. I hate all these blanket statements that, almost spilled my water and everything they make. And you know what? When we do some video of these quarterbacks before the draft, then we'll show them what happens when your arm gets long about your feet. We're going to demonstrate a little, and then we're going to show the effects when we see it with these college quarterbacks and even pro quarterbacks, but we're not going to deal with them right now. So that's just a couple. I got about 6 other ones. I'm going to save them until we.
What are you saving them for, man? Come on, go ahead, air it out.
I got tons of things to say about Drake Maye and Michael Penix. That's what we're going to talk about today.
All right.
And I just want to tell everybody out there, we are going to do a good video version. I've been saving all the plays. I'm doing all the work. and you'll take advantage of it and do all the talking when we show it. But that's just how it goes. That's being a father, how your kids take advantage of you and all those things. So
oh my God. I got so many things to say about that, but I'm going to let them go. And
you can yeah. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Say it.
No, I mean, we all play our part for the betterment of the team.
Okay.
And what do I got to do for you? I got to walk you through how to set up, your camera, your microphone.
I got it. Yeah. The first time you walked me through it, I got it. I don't need it anymore.
Oh my God. That is such BS. All right. It's like the 5th time that I've walked you through it, but it's okay. We'll keep doing it. Repetitions, Phil. You know how you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. All right.
Yeah,
so we'll keep practicing you up. Right.
Inglorious bastards.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
All right. So hey, enough dilly dally, enough tomfoolery, enough shenanigans, enough. Okay,
you're
gonna get. What
movie is that?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, he just says
it. Just goes.
Oh, it's great. I love that line.
But we are going to get into the quarterbacks that most recently participated in their pro day workouts. That being Michael Penix and Drake Maye. I will give you the option here, player. Who would you like to dissect first?
Well, Drake Maye.
All right, let's go to Drake Maye
for many reasons. I thought both him and Michael Penix, I think they helped themselves in their pro day.
Okay.
I watched Drake Maye's, the whole thing, live and all that. So it was good. Hey, look, there's things you can't deny about Drake Maye. He's big. He is strong. He has a strong arm. He's very good, I think, in his workout, his pro day, but even on film. That's what I talked about a little bit. What you do in your pro day, does it mimic a lot of things that you did well as a quarterback in the games? Right. And my answer to that would be he showed that. Strong arm and on the mobility moving around. I don't think the mobility for him is as great as we kind of thought it would be, but it's still good. It's going to be NFL solid or good. But his throwing on the run is really good. Yeah. And I went back and looked at all my notes that I've written about him in a lot of games. And it was in every one. Wow, really good on the run. Going left, I'll just make these quick. Going left, he has good mobility where he can really turn as he's running to the left side and make throws with power. And then going right, Matt, I've seen he did it in the pro day, which I thought was cool, but it's in the games too. When he's going right, he can throw it 50, 60 yards down the field and really high on the run. And he's pretty accurate with it too. So that's just my first couple thoughts about Drake Maye.
I agree. I actually wonder too, when I watch the pro day and think back as far as how they developed the script and all that, I almost would have incorporated some of the movement stuff earlier in the workout just to kind of get him moving and have that feel, because when he does throw on the run, he naturally turns his body in rhythm beautifully. He does a great job of, as we would teach our young quarterbacks, uncoiling or unraveling through the throw, right, and following through it patiently. And I thought early on, you could see he was a little tight. You could see that he didn't quite follow through enough of his throws that he missed. I mean, he missed a few that were pretty, it was pretty big time for a shorts workout. He missed them pretty big, but it was because I feel like he was almost trying to place the football instead of just following through and being patient like a great golfer does.
Rip it. You know what it was too? I thought, I'm trying to watch him and see. I thought he was a little nervous starting out, which I think is, and that lent
natural.
Yeah, that made some of the throws not look great. But once he got rolling, I thought he really threw the ball well.
Yeah.
And, so what was I going to say next about him? I will say that.
And I just want to add this too. Like, you're right, though. There was a few plays there, even when they later in the workout go to the low red zone area, moving right, throwing back across the field to the left corner, moving left, throwing back to the right corner of the field. Like, you could see that he naturally has that ability and flexibility of his upper body to throw from these contorted areas, which I think are probably his best attribute compared to the other quarterbacks that are coming out of this draft, is that
I agree.
He is the most flexible and limber in that regard with that talent.
Yeah. The other thing that when you talk about this, about mechanics and all this, when he throws the ball deep down the field, it's that's his best quality, because he really gets his body into the throw. The rotation on the football is tremendous. I mean, he can really spin it, which, you know, when you start talking about where you're going to get drafted, it's one thing to get drafted in Washington. It's another thing if you get drafted in New England. New England, when you go out there and it's not windy or a bad day, you just go, oh, thank you, Lord, because it's you hit a lot of wind in Giant Stadium, up in New England for sure. And, of course, Buffalo. I mean, 20-mile-an-hour winds, that's a day at the park for those guys. It is. So, but it really is. But the deep throws, he really used his body. And on the short throws, which I wrote my notes, some inaccuracies, is because instead of using his whole body, he's a puller. And I'll just say this. When you pull, what do? Look what happens. I go down. Right. So here's the ball. Yeah, and if I pull, so where the hell's the ball going to go? It's going to go low. And I saw a lot of that in some of his film, which, you know, the easy throws, which I always say, make sure you make all the routine throws, and then you need to make a few great ones every game. And he missed too many routines, but his mechanics, his motion, and all that, I thought was really good in his pro day. And it just showed, hey, look, he's got talent, Matt. My God.
No, I mean, he absolutely does, right? And I think we also see as well some of the reservations that even, you know, my brother, your son, has made Christopher, and why he might be not as highly valued as some of the other quarterbacks in this draft because of the things that we're discussing right now. You know, the pulling of the football, to me, that's a quarterback trying to place it, like you're saying. He's trying to guide the throw and be accurate instead of, you know, as I say to my young students, you know, don't throw to the man, throw through the man, you know, and don't worry about it. You know, if it's a little bit here or there, you know, it's better to just follow through and to trust your instincts than it is to try to place the ball. And for him, did you get this feeling? I feel like when I watched his workout, no doubt he's been conscious and working on his technique, right?
No doubt.
There's no doubt that there's a conscious effort to do that. Do you feel like at times, maybe early, and this could be jitters too, but did you feel like at times early on, maybe it's still not quite like totally natural to him, right, with these new mechanics that he's trying to implement for the pro day?
Well, if I'd show you my notes when I watched him earlier in the year going over his games and what I got in the notes that I wrote here, and then I went back and looked what I wrote earlier, and in both of my head, still a little mechanical. It's not that it doesn't really bother me. But, you know, as he throws in the NFL, and look, you're going to get a lot of throws in practice and mini camps and all this other stuff. You know, the more you throw, the more you just get a feel on how to do it even better. Right. And you kind of, you know, and I always say this, if you're not better, if I don't see you in year 2 in the NFL, when I watch it, I can automatically see you physically throwing the ball better because you understand how good and how machine-like and accurate you have to be in the NFL to really make it work. So you got to make those adjustments. The quarterbacks that look the same in year 2, in year 3, Zach Wilson would be one. Just didn't see enough improvement and the routine plays and what you do, and it leads to spotty, you know, not mistakes, but missed opportunities, tough situations. And, you know,
and these missed opportunities don't allow for the growth of confidence. And without a lack of confidence and growth in that department, it's hard to continue to be successful in the NFL. And that's where, too, like, I feel like for Drake, I saw, not to say that his throwing motion is like Will Levis, but I do see a little bit of that, like, rigidness and occasionally just not like a fluid motion the way that I would like to see, you know, a thrower of his caliber right now in his game. You know, I even said this to you about Will earlier in the year when we were watching. Like, I think he could be really good. I just want him to, like, relax a little and just be a little bit more nimble with his upper body and just let his body relax a little bit on the throw instead of being so robotic. And I think for Drake, he's just in a new stage right now where he's just he's figuring out his new swing. Yeah. And he hasn't quite mastered it or become that natural to him yet.
Yeah, really, really well said. You're right. It's like the golf swing. Once you really get it to where you want, now you just hit the ball. Right. There it is. I'm going to hit it because I know I'm going to do it the right way.
Hello, ball.
Yeah, that's right. You know, as we were talking about that, what were you saying right there at the end? I was going to counter it.
Just the fact that like I don't think that he really is super comfortable yet with this new technique and this thought process of his more condensed motion.
Right. Here's what I want to say to everybody. You want to be to throw the ball with touch and feel. The more you use your upper body, the more you're literally going to learn to throw the ball harder, spin it, place it better, everything. And that helps you use your legs. Everybody, oh, get your legs in the throw. Well, how the hell do I get my legs in the throw? It's but you do it with your upper body. And when you see some of these quarterbacks, and Drake Maye, like I said earlier, he does it on long throws. But once he learns to relax, like you said, and use his whole body more and throwing the short passes, I mean, there's nothing like playing quarterback, and I know in the NFL, and it's kind of a short pass, the guy's moving, and you just kind of rip it in there, and it's right on target, and you just go, man, that felt good.
Yeah,
I want to do that more.
But you're right, though. I mean, for young QBs out there, right, who pay attention to this, fathers who have quarterback sons, it really is to be a great thrower. It's the sum of all of your parts, right, of your body, than it is just having arm talent. There is a difference between the two. There's a lot of guys that are talented arms and can throw it, but they're not great passers because they don't really know how to use their entire body to generate power and be rhythmic too with the throw.
You want to be a good passer, throw the ball well with touch and drop it over the first, what do they call that? Layering the ball. I love that term. You got to layer it. Got to layer. It's like, I think, well, where's the cake? We're laying. Well, what are we talking about? But over one in front of the other, but you know what it does? That really shows you where you really need your whole body to do that.
Right.
God doesn't give anybody the feel to go, oh, I'm going to just flip it over the top and under. No, it doesn't happen that way. You might do it a couple times, but the other 3 or 4 are going to be off target, and it's going to be big trouble. So
overall, though, I think we like what we saw from Drake Maye. I think that once he got in his groove, he definitely was very impressive. Obviously early on, like you said, with the jitters, there was definitely a few misses, the short passes in particular too. He would be one of those students that we would talk about like, hey, how we're going to warm up? We're going to warm up the opposite way. We're not going to start with the short stuff and then work our way deep. We're actually start deep and then work back, and that's where, if I were coaching him to redo his pro day, that's kind of how I would have started with him too. Like, let's be a little bit more aggressive and go back, even though that might be a little bit of a bold thing for someone in a pro day. That really does suit what he does well naturally.
Yes, the deep ball. I did a high school quarterback. I had him work out for a college, and I'm not going to say his name, but you know who it is. And I started out with it, and I had rehearsed a couple of times with him, was to drop back, and I want you to really use, and we're just going to throw some deep balls. Just throw them out there kind of nice and soft, but so he throws one soft, it goes about 50. Then the next one, I can see he's got it. He throws the next one, just rips it. It goes almost 60. And right there, I knew, well, here comes a scholarship, because how far did that ball go? How far was that? What, 65 yards? But that did it. And then the rest of the workout, he used the same extra, the body more. Right. And he threw all the other underneath routes and the in cuts. He threw it great. He really did. Now, he hasn't transitioned to college the way he should, but hell, I'm not coaching him, so I can't help him every day. But it really is exactly what you said about Drake Maye. I'm so bad.
I hear you. And you're right, though. There is something to that, as far as like kind of developing your swing, right? Your throw, the similarities between the two. And now
pat and go. But let's go.
Now let's get to, that's enough about Drake Maye. I think we covered enough places.
Yeah, we did.
With him in particular. We'll now go into the breakdown of Michael Penix's pro day. Right. And this is someone to me that even Christopher Sims has recently said too, just someone that is being kind of overlooked in this process. And that partly is because I think of just the rise of JJ McCarthy, the hype that's following him post national championship, Harbaugh, all that kind of stuff, the Michigan quarterback, all that. But Michael Penix, to me, really kind of reminded all of us again in his pro day that besides Caleb Williams, I think he is the best pure passer in this year's draft, probably with Jaden Daniels in a close third right behind him by his ability to throw the football accurately, powerfully, suddenly at times and really just gracefully and easily down the field too, with tremendous accuracy.
Well, I would say he's more of a thrower than a passer.
Okay.
You know, in other words, he can just let it go.
Right.
And I don't see a lot of when I watched him, I've watched him a lot. I got to see quite a few of his games in college, but I didn't ever just go and, you know, it was a lot of fastballs. You know, he didn't throw many change-ups, which is okay. When you have that talent and you're like him, hell, I want to throw a fastball. That's what I'm good at. He's Nolan Ryan, you know. So I'll say this little pet peeve too, that he's going to turn 24. Did you know that? Oh my gosh, 24. His career's almost over. It's everybody has to bring that. Well, you know, he's going to be 24. Well, so what? What does that mean? Oh, well, the other guys have more time to develop. And no, you're in the NFL. They don't care if you're 24 or 40 or whatever. It's how you put. But it's brought up constantly. And I actually, when I heard I thought maybe he's turning 28 or something. I didn't know. But to get off of that,
you would think that would be a pro too for someone that's evaluating a quarterback in the toughest position ever.
More mature,
like he's more mature. He's a grown man. He's been through a ton of adversity personally off the field too, with just his injuries and dealing with that, transferring, you know, essentially restarting his career all over again in Washington. So, you know, to me, that's like a bonus. I actually like the fact that he's had that experience and has been through a lot of tough times throughout his career, because you just know that he's resilient, he's tough, you know, and that he's developed the will to overcome that stuff.
Right. No doubt. You know, I went back and looked at some stuff from him about him.
Yeah.
And in 2020, when he was at Indiana, I'd forgotten this, but I do remember it. He beat Michigan, Penn State that year. They were ranked number 7 in the country.
Yeah.
Doesn't that, can you believe that? Indiana. And against Ohio State, they lost the game. He threw for 491 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That's not bad.
That is not bad. And with Indiana, I mean, man, that was the highlight of Indiana's football, whatever, because it went downhill from that. But to go back to him, the other thing, it was, I don't know what the phrase you use for it, the secret in the closet, whatever it is. He ran in the 4.5s in the 40.
Right.
So that kind of got rid of another myth. Well, he's just a stand there pocket guy.
Yeah.
And he is a stand there in the pocket a lot. Why? Because that's what he's really, it's his greatest strength. So he's going, why do I want to run when I know I can just rip it in there if I give myself another half a second? And in the game that you and I talked about, I don't know if you and I did talk about it, but he's weatherproof. I watched the game against Oregon State. I think it might have been on a Thursday or Friday night, something. So I could watch the whole thing.
That was a Saturday night game. Yeah.
Was it?
But yeah, it was a night game.
Pouring rain
at Oregon State, pouring rain. And he didn't have a great completion percentage in that game. I want to say it was maybe like 50% or something like that.
Maybe.
But
yeah.
He threw some unbelievable footballs that unfortunately his receivers just couldn't catch him, right?
No.
Because he was still throwing it through that weather. He still made the big throw at the end there to Rome Odunze to win the football game.
Right.
Still putting in a perfect placement down the field, back shoulder throws, all that. And that's, again, where we kind of go back to just the measurable aspect when we're evaluating these quarterbacks. He's got big hands. He's got long arms. He's played in adverse weather. And to me, that's another pro to go along with his age, of the fact that, like, I know, right? I mean, how important was being able to throw in weather when we watched the Chiefs versus the Dolphins in that playoff game this past year?
There you go.
You know, there's one quarterback that is super comfortable playing in the cold, and it has no effect on his throwing motion. And Tua, who's a rhythm passer, who throws it great when it's sunny and breezy in Miami Beach.
Warm. Yeah.
But there in Kansas City, you know, he's double hopping throws. You know, there isn't that power, that rhythm to get through that environment. And that's why I think Michael Penix is really interesting, especially for teams that are in, you know, those environments. You know, he would definitely interest me as a quarterback that, you know, especially for like a Denver Broncos team, you know, just anyone that's playing in this Northeast area too, to endure the weather the way that he does with his skill set.
Well, the speed, the arm strength, make all the throws, all the arm angles. Yeah. He measured 6'2", 216, which kind of surprising, right? I mean, I didn't know he was going to be that heavy. I mean, didn't look any heavier than I saw him during the season, but I think that's a plus. That takes a little bit of the doubt that some people might have about him. Because I even said once, man, he looks really skinny, but you know, he still plays well. He was only sacked 31 times over the last couple of years. So that was another thing. He knows how to get rid of the football before he's sacked. He can make great throws under pressure. And, you know, whatever offense you run, he's going to adapt to. I think the one thing I took away from his pro day is I was watching it, and of course I was going, oh my God, that throw was ridiculous. And I hope people understand the difference when you have a powerful arm and when you just have an average NFL arm. And because there's special plays to be made, we don't take them apart and say 5 quarterbacks could have made these 5 throws, but we just count every throw the same in the NFL. Well, his completion percentage and his quarterback rating's gone down. Like, I give a crap about his quarterback rating. But, you know, it's false advertisement. That's what it is. But, you know, I get talking so much, I forget what I'm going to say. But, but, you know, he opened eyes, I think, with this pro day, and just one more thing to put out there to everybody that he can play for any team in any system. I know what I was going to say, Matt. So here, you're the quarterback for team whoever. Yeah. Okay, whoever they are. And he gets drafted by that team. And they're going to go out there, all the quarterbacks, and they're going to throw the ball around the first day. Yeah. And then it's over. All the other quarterbacks are going to be sitting there telling themselves, what the hell was that? Because it can be intimidating. There's nothing worse being a quarterback in the NFL. You're the starter, and you go out in the field, and you're the 3rd worst passer of the group. You know, so he's going to wow some people with his talent. And I think definitely now, just from what I hear, I do listen, he's going in the 1st round. It's just a question of where.
Yeah, and I hope he does, because I do think that he's deserving of being a 1st-round quarterback. I was a huge fan of him all year. I really just couldn't say enough nice things about him throughout the season when I was covering stuff for ESPN, when I was talking to you on the weekends, just like, hey, man, this guy Michael Penix, some of the throws that he's making, this and this, like, you know, how he's keeping his team relevant. The sacks, the lack of sacks really are – and they were named one of the best offensive line in college football. But I'm telling you, he was a big part of why they were so productive in that department, because he was fantastic at making the first person miss consistently. He was great at resetting and throwing just absolute, just like daggers over the middle and the outside the numbers after sudden movement. And that was one thing that I kind of noticed too, with the difference in footwork between Drake Maye and Michael Penix. Michael Penix did a great job of, you know, sliding, moving, dropping, resetting his feet, and they are always spaced perfectly underneath like his shoulders, right? Yeah. So it was always like, as soon as he moved his right foot, he put that left foot down and he could throw it, right? Actually, it's the opposite because he's a lefty, but he can move that left foot, right foot, and go. Whereas with Drake, I kind of notice like a little bit of a clicking type of hitch when he would go. It was like the right foot would click with the left, and then he'd step with the left. And that's where I felt like he was clunky at times early on in the workout. But with Michael Penix, man, that quick twitch, pops his feet, peppers his feet, kind of like that example we talked about with J.J. McCarthy in his pro day, very naturally well. I saw it on film. I saw it on the pro day. And then he is the best deep ball thrower in this year's draft class, right? Yeah, on film, he absolutely is number 1. You know, and that's what's interesting to me, is that like all these things that I'm saying about Michael Penix, it's very similar to me as far as how I view Caleb Williams as my favorite quarterback in this year's draft is number 1. Yeah. Michael Penix, he checks a lot of the same boxes. And you know, the reason why is just because like I see it. I saw it on film. The pro day reaffirmed it again, how confidently I feel about his throwing mechanics, his ability to be a dynamic thrower in the NFL. I know his skill set will translate extremely well into the NFL level. And you're right. I do think he's a quarterback that fits well, really kind of into any system that you want to play, any style that you want to play, any environment that you want to play.
Well, I think what will happen there, Matt, wherever he goes, if he does turn into a starter, they're going to adapt to him, you know, a little bit. So that'll be the easy. I'll go back to this and Brock Heward, who does games for Fox. And he's doing the game at Washington where he went to school, and they're playing Oregon. and I turned it on. I'm pretty excited to watch the game because I want to see the teams and the two quarterbacks, and it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds going across the field.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brock Heward, who could really throw, and he's a big dude, played in the NFL, goes, people, I just don't know what to tell you. That was a 30-yard throw into the wind, and it just didn't slow down. You know, it was like complete. And I thought Bo Nix in that game too played really well and made a lot of good throws with the wind and the weather. And again, there's nothing like having quarterbacks that are weatherproof. They don't go out in the field and go, oh my God, it's windy. I can't take any chances. And no, you got to be able to go out there now in this day and age with these footballs and all the coaching that's going on. Weather just can't, you know, take you completely out of the game. You got to be able to throw in bad weather too now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that was a great breakdown for the most recent quarterbacks in their pro days with Drake Maye and Michael Penix. Both guys did a great job performing under, you know, tremendous pressure, even though it is shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, the whole damn league is watching you. You know, the whole country's watching that performance. So it's not an easy task for them, but they did a fantastic job of managing their emotions, preparing, right? And they really did put on a show for us and show us that they're very talented. I think Michael Penix, to me, is a more ready to play right now NFL player in my eyes. I still think Drake Maye is a little bit of a project, more of a Jordan Love type of trajectory into the NFL. I think that's what would be best for him, and even JJ McCarthy in that regard too. But I think Michael Penix is a guy that is extremely impressive in many categories. And I think that he, along with Caleb Williams, when they step on the field in the NFL field, I think they're going to be, you know, top 10 arms in the league, day one, as soon as they step on the field. And that's where I think it's kind of hard to deny that. So we'll see too if the injuries play a part in maybe his draft stock and how teams evaluate him or how they value that part of his game and his history. But super impressed with both of these gentlemen.
Yep, very good. Good stuff. That was fun. You know, when we do our little breakdown here in a couple weeks, and show the guys throwing, we're going to show their good and their bad. Right. You know, we talk a lot. We're a lot of positive stuff, which is, you know, it is positive. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and go, wow, terrible workout. No, it's just not true. If it was a terrible workout, I'd say it.
Hey, and you know what? Hey, because I saw this in some of our comments too, you know, on our YouTube page as well, and even on the Believe YouTube page. You know, you guys like everybody. All right, well, you know what? Hey, if you want to read someone else's negative, go look at somebody else, okay? Because we want to talk about the positive things about what these young men do. Of course, we bring up some of the negatives, but we're not going to harp on them and crush these young men because we know how difficult this damn sport is, you know? So if you want to hear negative news and, you know, negative Nancy's, go find somewhere, you know, else to listen to those people.
Well,
we're not it, you know.
Well, let's go back to what I was saying earlier. Well, he missed some reads and he threw an interception when the game was on the line. I don't care. I don't care I just don't care. I'm judging him. Right. And we're seeing the good. We talk about the bad and the things that we know that need to be better for them to be big time, really good quarterbacks in the NFL. And we'll show that when we watch the videos. And you know, it'd be a good teaching for a lot of people who think they know about throwing the football. And we'll probably show them a lot of things that go, yeah, they didn't know crap. You know, so we'll show them a few things.
Yeah, it's all right. It's always good to get you up there demonstrating too. So it's always good.
Oh yeah. I'm really you throwing it underhanded. I know how to teach them to do that. That's about it. But
you are known a myth and a legend in underhand throwing of the football. It's well documented.
That's over too.
Yeah, that's
over. Go
ahead. Well, that's all we got for today. We will come back with more, though. Eventually, I will get Big Phil to rank this year's quarterback class.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it.
He's dragging his toes. He's nervous about his ranking. He will not, you know, actually do it. So maybe by next episode, I convince him to actually finally make that ranking of where he's got the QBs.
It's not time to do it. The draft is still, 3 weeks away?
Big Phil, we can do it now, you know, 20 million times more if we want to before the draft.
Wait. Look, I'm not on TV. I'm not one of those guys that every week I come up, I got new rankings. What happened? Oh, I talked to somebody. He told me that they might go second in the draft. I don't know.
Your glasses are crooked. Fix your glasses.
Let's see. It's always the opposite.
They're not. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay. I hit them. But oh well, we'll take care of that. And
yeah, we'll get there eventually. But thank you again for
yes.
tuning in to our Believe Network. Thank you so much. Follow Sims Complete Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and then also Phil Sims on Instagram and Twitter as well. We'll be back for more breakdowns of this NFL offseason and also quarterback evaluations leading up to this year's NFL draft. We'll be back for more. Thank you so much. This is Sims Complete out. Toodles.
Toodles.